Howdy howlers, it's Sako Toomey, also known as Cass Voigt. I write horror and I'm a witch and I'm a graphic designer, and sometimes I combine those three things. Today I'm totally combining those three things. Jeez. I'd like to say hello to Spence and Devin and Amelia. Hopefully you guys are still hanging out. I hope. I'd like to introduce you to Series Bibles today, and this is a working workshop, so I won't be offended if you dip out, because we'll have lots of sprints. Which I'm going to time on my phone, because I can't share two screens at once. Hey, Renee. Hey, Renee. Hi, Chandra. I'm so glad you could make it. I'm so glad. Mm-hmm. And my husband's going to come down and make racket in the kitchen. I know it. I'm making a pie and listening in. That is awesome, Spence. Thank you for both the pie and the listening in. And I might need another drink. Thank you for coming. Absolutely. I hope that this is something of a help. Okay, I will be right back because I need to refresh my drink. Enjoy the fire. All right. Oh, let me not do this directly into the mic. Thank you. All right. Let's see here. This page. Thank you for coming to Series Bibles for Authors. It is the year 2020. This is Sako Toomey / Cass Voigt bringing it to you. In fact, I am a self-published author based out of the Northern Virginia area. I've breached 300 subscribers on AuthorTube after 11 years of honing my craft. I'm also a professional photographer, illustrator, belly dancer, and flow artist. At the end of the day, I enjoy curling up with my husband Greg and my cat Nobukatsu with a stupid show and a horror book. I can be found on both social media, either as Sako Toomey or as Sako. Cass Voigt is the writer of the Standalone Hope's Chest and the Damned Hitman series since 2005. She graduated in 2006 with a BFA in graphic design. In 2011, she jumped from short stories to novels and has never looked at fan fiction the same way since. In April of 2020, she decided to self-publish in a fast release over 5 years through White Wolf's fan label Dark Pack. Her YouTube channel subscribers have tripled. She has been invited to host various AuthorTube events such as this one. She looks forward to what the future has to hold. Now, I can't see comments at the same time. Hi, Catflies and Key Clavis. All hail Devin, or deity of ring. May he bless our plots and arcs. Writing. Oh my gosh, you can't read Jack and his brother shit. Hold on. There we go. Okay. We're going to talk about a few things today, one of which is the color code. I don't use this technique, but many authors do, where each book you write in the series gets a color. So when you first start working on the Bible, the first book would be one color. The second, any information regarding the second book would be another color. Any information regarding the third book would be yet another color, and so on. Next, we'll talk about characters. We will devote a section of the Bible to the characters, of course. This would include backgrounds, descriptions, questionnaires, any other information you might have about your characters. I have typos in this. That's wonderful. Next, we'll talk about systems. Actually, I'm pretty sure we'll talk about systems before we talk about characters. This is the organization that I have. We will go into systems a little bit later, but first we want to figure out how we're going to compile our information. Next, we'll talk about settings. Just like we did with our characters, we'll have entries for settings as well. Timelines and outlines. Some authors have extensive timelines with pages filled with when events happen in their books, and other authors prefer to keep it to bare minimums. If you're more of a minimalist, it works to just jot down notes of how long each book is, along with moments in your characters' lives. I can't write without a timeline. The timeline is absolutely necessary, especially if I'm going to denote weather, especially if I'm going to denote times of day. Timeline, totally necessary. And I hope that you guys keep them too. And then we'll talk about other notes like cultures, languages, technologies, other tidbits that would be included. All right. First, we'll talk about the color code. Like I said, any information that involves one thing would be one color. Anything that involves another thing would be another color. Like say, I have Lorenzo Giovanni, hitman for the Giovanni family. The thing in book 2 is he has an addiction to cocaine. The thing from book 3 is he gets married to a Koijin and has a young a boy. He has a son. Then book 4, yet another color would be he knows a pack of hunters who help him take down a Yama King. And then also some stuff from the last book. He faces his racism and his masochism quite upfront in the last book. So you don't have to color your sentences like this, like this example here, but it might help, especially if you're doing something in Drive or in Word. Okay. Various systems. First, my series Bible is just a journal. I've sectioned it off to have each of the books, each of the sections that I need for each book. Many people prefer a binder. Much like my business plan, This would be an excellent example. Let me pull up these books. With these pockets, that way you can move pages around, have specific sections. Many people find that helpful. That way they can also print out like Pinterest things and various articles that might be pertinent. Some use a poster board, much like a mood board. That would be, here's all the characters, and here's a board for the characters, here's a board for the settings, here's a board for each book. You can do these documents in Word. You can either use your document map. Now this works for Google Docs as well. Document mapping, totally your best friend. That means go to View and then hit Document Map or something similar. And it will show you everything that you have tagged as a header. So when you go to make, say, characters, mark the word characters with the tag, with the format of header, and that will show up in your document map. So you would have all your bookmarks. You can hop around your document as needed. It's super convenient. This, like I said, this works for both Word and Google Docs. The color method for these two also work. There is a method to do it in Scrivener, especially with all the back-end stuff that they offer you with a novel. I strongly recommend taking the tutorial. There is a 30-day trial with Scrivener if you want to give it a shot. I strongly recommend starting a project fresh with Scrivener rather than a project that you've already started. It's just not worth the trouble. But there is already a section for your characters. There's already a section for locations. You just have to fill it out. It can be as specific or as vague as you want it to be. And it's all, the downside is that it's all in one place. So if the file goes down, you're screwed. Something that I am experimenting with my games is having a wiki. Heart Breathing swears by this, Sarah Cannon swears by this method. I'm learning. And she also has her beta readers use the wiki as well. So she's not the only one filling it out. Her beta readers are also filling it out with pertinent information. There is legend that World Anvil, while it is originally designed for gamers and GMs, it works for storytellers as well. So I have not tried this, but there's no reason why it wouldn't be helpful. Hey Eddie, nice to see you. I've been writing really hard because I have a manuscript request. Oh, so I haven't been around lately. Well, I'm really glad you could make it today. Really glad about that. I hope some of this information is going to be useful. Okay, first we're going to work on our characters. This would involve any descriptions that you've done thus far, or you can write them from scratch. This would count for any background information like history, childhood, previous life, etc. This would involve any pictures that you might have had drawn, or you've drawn yourself, or you did Art Breeder. Cough cough, artbreeder.com, totally great site for making characters and stuff like that. Artbreeder.com. There are various questionnaires on the internet regarding how to question your characters to have certain emotions and certain character devices like pointed out through these questionnaires. So you get to know your character really fast. And lastly, any relationship maps. Actually, I'll do it from here. Sorry, it's going to take me a second to get there. This would be a great example of a relationship map. Oh, sorry about the ring light. There we are. So the blue would be her herd, the yellow would be her sire, and the green would be a member of her team when she was mortal, because she was in the military. So relationship maps, totally great. There is a program made by the same people that did Scrivener called Scapple. Get weird with Sako's like button and give some watch time. Can't stay though. That's okay. So I'm going to give you guys 20 minutes. Let me look up a timer. You would think I had these like already done. Oh, excuse me. I'll have to reshare it. We're gonna do a sprint. We're gonna do a sprint so that you guys can figure out what kind of system you want to use. I think Google Docs is probably the easiest and probably the most versatile, especially with programs like Google Keep and their Post-it extension and all of that stuff. Super helpful. So Google might be a good start. Dun, 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 dun. Full screen. And we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Start. Get those characters compiled, do the things. All right, now we're back from that sprint. I hope that you actually managed to get some of those characters kind of nailed down. Polishing up the power system for a new setting I got in mind. Lots of religious inspiration for this one. Very cool. Very cool, Marco. Also glad you could make it. That's going to be like super what we're getting into next, actually, is settings. All right. Next, we're going to talk about settings. This includes any maps. Google Maps is your friend if you're doing like urban fantasy or anything involving real places. There's also World Anvil. I believe you can make maps in World Anvil, I think, if you're doing fantasy. Next would be photos of said places. Again, Google, big help. Also Pinterest. What kind of hours do they hold? Are they a nightclub? Are they a cafe? Are they a warehouse or a palace? Or what kind of business do they do? What sort of things happen at settings like this? And why are you featuring this setting for this purpose? Like why are you, what is so important about this place that you had to make it a setting? So, how do we feel about a sprint to take care of settings? Even if you just jot them down for the time being, the miscellaneous places where things happen. And sometimes jotting down how many places you have might point out that you have too many settings. One thing with settings, don't overdo it. Like a vampire story, when they're weak to crosses, would it make sense for them to be weak to Muslim and Jewish symbols as well? Yeah, it's called true faith. White Wolf actually has a term for that. Does picking one confirm one religion over the other, etc.? Yeah, White Wolf calls it true faith, and it could be a homeless man with a hubcap. But if that homeless man believes in that hubcap, it is the belief, the sheer belief that causes damage, not the idea that it's a cross. If they are wounded by crosses, that's the vampire's hang up, not anything that's intrinsic in their nature. Not that I'm trying to shoot down your idea. I think it would be a great idea to have it like a Muslim centric vampire hunter. That would be kind of cool. Or a Muslim centric person who is trying to ward off a vampire, rather. Are we wrapping up our characters? Is that why we've gone silent? Because I'm about to change direction. And do another for the settings. How did that sprint treat you guys? Are you eyeballs deep in characters now? And or settings? What you working on? Okay, you ready? You think Orla is ready? Spence is pieing? Yes. Okay. But would that imply that no religion is truly true? That literally any belief is equally valid? Exactly. Because it's the sheer belief of it, not the focus. All right, settings go. Oop, damn it. Try that again. All right, let's work on some settings in 3, 2, 1. Let's do this. Okay, that was our second sprint that we were working on settings for. How'd we do? Pa-pa, pa-pa, pa-pa. Making good progress on the locations. How do you go about naming them? You can name them by scene. You can name them by purpose. Got a bullet list of settings and start filling out some details. Fleshing out the most fun part of any religious setting, the deadly sins and virtues. Yes. All right. Let us move on. Boop, boop. Next would be timelines. Now, there are various programs that you can go through to do this. Granted, you could do this with paper as well, but I would use a program of some kind or Post-its or something so that you can move stuff around. I use Google Sheets personally. There's Venngage. There's Adobe Spark actually offers free timelines. And Aeon is a pay service, but it is so nice. It's kind of worth it if you're writing a lot of books or doing a lot of character work. Did we do a sprint for that? I don't know. Okay. Timelines. Yes, purring. I name locations after words from other languages many times. Cool. Whatever works, man. Oh, I keep slouching. Arr. All right. Vengage. Which looks like it offers a lot of stuff, and it's mostly free, if I remember correctly. The infographic maker. You can sign up for free. What's with the pricing? Timelines. There was another thing this did too that I can't remember. And I believe you can, the trial is basically everybody can see it, and only one person can work on it, I think, right? Small business, self-employed. I am a designer, so that would be best for me, but what would you like to create? Mind maps. And yeah, no, mind maps, pretty much it. Here's some templates. This looks good. Holy crap. Oh, okay, I can select more than one. Continue. What is the payment type? Plan type. Free. Free. There we go. Okay, so I can create a thingy. All right. That was easy enough. See, all template, actually. Is it just going to show me mind map things? No, it's going to show me all kinds of things, like timeline things. That's right, timeline and infographic / mind map things, relation map things. Useful. Wavemaker has a thing and it's free. Previous commitment. Nice to see you. Hope you'll catch this on the replay. And it's okay. Then add some common city thing at the end, like something something Stadt, something something home, etc. Yeah. Wavemaker has a timeline feature and it's free. Campfire as well, but I'm not used. Either a lot to give a review either way. Yeah. And yeah, I feel the same way. Campfire actually allows for a lot of stuff. I just haven't used Campfire yet. I didn't learn about it until just this year. All right. Ba-ba. Cool. Now we're going to talk about all the extra goodies. So this is when we're talking about magic systems or technology systems or culture or clothing, religion or accessories like magical amulets or crowns or swords, stuff like that. So having gone through timelines and having gone through systems, various things that you can possibly tack on to the end, let's do another sprint. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, God damn it. Ta-da. In 3, 2, 1, let's do it. Okay. Noticed my little dance, huh? All right. We're doing this one. Haha. All right. So how did that sprint go for you guys between the timelines and the systems? Was that at all productive? How did that go for you guys? I know Chasing Epiphanies totally got the setting, the culture and religion and stuff down. Sins and vices. Oh, excuse my my yawning and wackiness. All the yawning and wackiness. I love that timer. Good. Systems for sure. Still struggling with the timeline. Oh, okay. That could take some time. It's true. If nothing else, the timeline of what happens in the books is also helpful. Oh, I guess. Forgot I could do that. How did that go for you guys? How did that go for you guys? The sense of virtues are related to my magic system, so woo. Examples may include someone getting a superpower by a devil of gluttony, and in exchange they get an addiction as they sign the contract. Ooh. Yas. I think that will come because there will be more than one book. That'll be helpful. If nothing else, sometimes working out the outline works out the timeline. Like I like to do those like kind of at the same time, like as they come up. So it's less work later. Okay. So other notes that we could possibly take are what kind of voice, and i.e., are you going to be in first person? Are you going to be in third person? Is it going to be closed? Is it going to be omnipotent? Like, what's the deal? What's the voice going to be like? Second, what kind of tense are you going to write in? Is it always going to be in, for instance, for me, all of my notes are in italics and in present. And then all of my actual writing is in past tense, always. Next would be the covers. You might want to include those in your Bible. You might want to include culture, religion, all of that stuff like we talked about in the systems and whatnot. And to wrap up, so we talked about color codes and how we can possibly use them to keep track of what came from what book. We talked about characters and backgrounds and questionnaires and all of those things. We talked about systems, i.e., we talked about whether we wanted to do it in a binder or whether we wanted to do it in Google Docs or we wanted to make a wiki or we wanted to use Scrivener. The options are endless. Next, we talked about settings, locations, maps, miscellany, photos, etc. Timelines, which we just did, and the other stuff, all the miscellany that will vary from book to book. Thank you all for joining me. Just remember, this book is for you. So this is where you do all your world building. This is where you do all your character building. And there are many times when the author feels the need to include book Bible stuff in the book. And that's not fair to the reader. If you're going to reveal stuff in the backstory and whatnot, and the importance of the setting and the importance of the magic system and all of that jazz, then you're just kind of holding your reader's hand and figuring that they won't figure it out on their own, which could be offensive. So remember, this book is for you. This, try not to, you could release a sketchbook at some point should your series be popular enough, I suppose, but really write it in a language that makes sense to you. You don't have to write this for your publisher. You don't have to write this for an audience. This is for you. Going to watch this again. So much info. I'm so glad that it helped. Omnipotent perspective would be poetic for a religious story, but then again, a lack of it could be a way to show through the medium that maybe God doesn't see all in this world. I like the idea of it being through the medium and being closed, so that the reader finds out just as much as the main character does. That sounds like an interesting perspective. We'll have to ponder on it. Thank you all for joining me today. We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about putting together a series Bible, and maybe I even gave you some time to try and put together, maybe you started putting together a series Bible, or you continued one that you had already started and kind of left on the back burner for some years. Next on the docket, I think I'm going to be doing a workshop on mysteries and thrillers. That's going to take me some time to prepare, but that is what is coming down the line, and everything you're writing should be relevant to the book you're writing. You can put a little foreshadow info in there for the next book. Yes, absolutely. But it should be relevant to the book, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in the book. Thank you all one more time, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.